The wisdom that we are seeking to find and embody isn't new, and yet the need exists for us to find new ways to perceive it and to understand it and to embody it and grasp it and make it ours. Some of the concepts, which are very old indeed, going back to the beginning of time before writing, these are valid concepts. Somehow, long, long ago, people understood things as well as we understand them today, and in some ways better. And yet, the language which is used to bring that wisdom forward in time into the modern era very often does something strange to our ability to understand it. So the structure, for example, of the words and the construction of the sentences and so on in the Bible is really archaic. And people then are trained to associate spiritual principles with an archaic method of presentation. So, you know, um, seek and ye shall find. Who's ye? Look for something and you'll find it. That's what that means. But because we say seek and ye shall find, it takes on this pompous approach. It seems like Christians do that and Jesus did that, but that's not my cup of tea. That's not normal for me. That's not my words. How could it be me if it's not the wordings that I use? And we have words like Maya, which comes from a different tradition to ours, the Hindu tradition, which refers to the fact that nothing is how it appears to be. Well, we all know that now. We might associate that more nowadays with Facebook or other social media, where what you see and what you get aren't the same. Um, we know that the world is filled with people that don't tell it like it is, and we know also that the way we see that is our business, and nobody else sees it quite the same way. We work that out, and that's what Maya means really. It's all subjective, and therefore it's illusion. If it's not something that you can check out objectively and measure, then how is it real? Reality is defined really by what can be agreed upon, measured, objectively substantiated. And the world isn't actually like that. Not all of it, some bits are, but all in all, it's not. It's not like that. It's illusion. But to say Maya is everything, it just takes us out of our normality of thinking. We can't think properly because of these strange words. Um, that's not to say that the strange words, shall we say, the ancient words are not necessary or beneficial. They are, but they just need to be bridged into our current vernacular. Um, Other wisdoms were known a long time ago, the wisdom of 11. Very recently, physicists have discovered that the best model to explain all of what they're measuring is that there are 11 dimensions in reality. And they tried to make it work with 10 and other numbers, and it just didn't quite work very well. But when they said it was 11, everything fell together. So it's now the common understanding amongst leading edge scientists that there are 11 dimensions. Now, this was known and taught a very long time ago, but not in these terms, not in terms of the language of physicists. It was taught in the language of mystics. Those were the people of knowledge in the olden days. So we have this job, shall we say, to take the ancient wisdom and learn what its language means and understand beneath this strange languaging actually what's meant, and then see if that also applies today. And we find that it does, that all of the ancient mysteries, they're still with us. They're eternal mysteries, they're eternal wisdoms, and they just need to be brought up to date. And if they were brought up to date in a non pompous, explaining kind of way rather than pontificating and priestly and trying to bully people into thinking that they're less than the people that are explaining. If it was done properly, like a good teacher can explain things, not necessary to persuade people or to deliver dogma to people. You can explain things. If it was explained, then everybody would get it. It's actually quite easy to understand. And what we need to understand is that we are, let's say in ancient terminology, um, created in the image of God. What that means is that we're godlike. And specifically, we're godlike not in the sense that we've all got long white beards. How ridiculous is that? But that was generally understood for quite a long time. Godlike in the sense that all we know about God, for sure, is that the Creator created. So what we know about ourselves is that we're creative. And that's what we do. We create it. We create it all. We create every single facet of our experience. We make it all up. That's the first mystery. Now, that doesn't mean that we can just suddenly think something and it comes to pass. That may be true on the astral plane, but it's not true on the earth plane. What works down here is a certain series of lessons that you have to understand in order to play the game properly. Every game has got its rules, and if you don't learn the rules, you're not likely to win. So the rules of this game that we're playing down here are also taught in ancient texts, like seek and ye shall find, for example. What you're looking for, what you're looking at, is what you attract. So if you're the kind of person that glorifies violence and bad news and gossips a lot and spreads horrible news around, then that's the life that you're creating for yourself. That's what your attention is on, that kind of stuff. But if you're somebody that always looks for the silver lining, always tries to be a harmonious influence in any situation, then you're going to bring harmony into your life. That's what that means. It just means if you want the world to be a good, harmonious, lovely place, then behave as though it is. Seek, and ye shall find. Whatever you're expecting, that's what you'll get. So don't expect bad things. Don't have plan B. Now, the other one that's worth mentioning is like what goes around comes round, or love thy neighbor as thyself, and so on. In other words, whatever you do is going to get done to you. That's why you love your neighbor as yourself. It's not to do with compassion, it's to do with the fact that if you don't, then you'll have problems. Be nice to other people and they'll be nice to you. Tell the truth and the truth will be told to you. And so on. That's the teaching. That's obviously not going to be delivered perfectly by you because you haven't cleared your being. There's some unconscious processes going on. And all of this happens on all the levels. Conscious, superconscious, and unconscious levels where we're creating our world out of those three things. So we might not know what we're doing. But if you have this general understanding that it's all yours to create, and you do that by giving attention to it, and whatever you do, you get back. It'll come back to you. So serve in order that you will be served later when you need it. So if you've got surplus energy now, deliver it, give it to someone else, and then later when you need it, it will be delivered back to you. So it's a question of just bringing old wisdom up to date. And then it's really easy to understand the meaning of life. It's not some impossible to pass examination that we're delivered by a punishing God. That's absurd. It's actually a very easy formula that we're finding difficult to believe in because we've been told either truth in the wrong language or lies by people that don't want us to understand what the truth is. But it really is fairly straightforward if you put your mind to it. Seek it. Really. Become a seeker. And that means you spend your life doing that. That's what you are. You also have a job, you also have a relationship, you also have a family, but you're a seeker. that's gonna get there quicker than anything else. If you put anything else as a priority, then that's what you'll get. If your priority is your kids or your work or your wife or whatever it might be, then that's what you'll get. But if you prioritize seeking, then you'll find the meaning of life. You get to be that. You'll get realized, become a realized being, and then you won't see any illusion. You can see it all. You see the truth.